I'll end this training on a quote. There's two quotes I want to give you. Inheritance is what we leave. Legacy is who we leave it in. So it isn't what we leave. It's who we leave it in. What kind of legacy are we all going to leave? In the people that mean the most to us. When people point at a picture on the wall of you, what will they say and how they remember you? Is he or she the person to change our family's future generations? That's up to you, what they say. Yes, it is in the quiet crucible of people's personal private sufferings where the noblest dreams are born and God's greatest gifts are given in compensation for what you've been through. It is in the quiet places, a closet, in your backyard, when things are really, really as bad as they can be. So it's in those quiet places where sometimes your noblest dreams are born and God's greatest gifts are given in compensation for what you've been through. And I found that true to be in my life. I don't know about your story, but I lost my mom and my dad at age 24 and 25 at very young age. They both died. My mom died at 55. My dad died at 56, 40 years ago. And I said at the time as a young man, why? Why me? I love my mom and dad, just like you. If I fell down, no one was going to pick me up. I had to survive. I only had a brother and he couldn't help me. And a couple of years later, I met some people that were involved in personal development. And I wasn't reading. I was reading the newspaper, the sports page. So when they told me to read, when my boss actually said, here's a book I want you to read. I said, what's the name of the book? He said, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And I said, I never heard of that book. He says, it's by one of the greatest success authors of all time. And as I cracked open the book and thumbed through it, there were words that intimidated me, and I kind of quickly closed the book and I said, I don't think this is for me. And then he put another book in front of me by Zig Ziglar called See You at the Top. He says, I think you'll like this guy. And he was a great sales trainer. And he's right. I read the introduction and I started laughing at some of the things that this guy was saying. And so at age 26, I started my journey in personal development. Don't wait another day. Because back then, in the 80s, there was no internet. There was no way to get personal development unless you went to a seminar or bought a book that maybe you couldn't afford. But I want you to hear me when I say this. All of you have the resources to be anything you want to be today. What's bigger, your goals or your excuses? And if you go on YouTube, you can get all of the motivation, all of the training that you need from the greatest thought leaders that have ever walked the earth. Ever. And so I'm saying to you guys, I can help you, but how are you going to help yourself? What are you going to do in the unseen hours when no one's watching? It isn't what you do from 8 to 5. It's what you do from 5 to 8. the next morning? What investment are you making in yourself in the unseen hours? Here's the last thing I want you to give you, because it sums up everything I just said in the last 5 minutes. The investment that you make in personal development, no one can ever take that away from you. Wow. Never. You can take my money, but you can't take my skill. You can take my money, but you can't take my attitude. You can take my money, but you're not going to rob me of my happiness, because I own my mind. My mind I own. That's all I got for you today.